Hi there. Welcome to Life Between Coasts, the podcast where we discuss your personal journeys and connect them with synchronicities. So grab your coffee, light a candle, and let's begin. This week we are up north Michigan, and we're visiting with some friends and people that we've met along the right way. And today we're here with Dianna. So welcome, Dianna. Thank you for joining us today. So tell me about you. Where did you come from?
I came from basically down in the Flint area, born in 1954, which makes me 71. Lived in Flint till I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
Moved over to Montmorse. Then from there, we went to Genesee. And then from there, I got married and went to Germany for a year.
Okay.
Came back, moved back to the Flint area. And then we moved to the Clio area, back to Geneseeville.
Okay.
And then to Holly, and then back up to here.
Okay. So now here is Kalkaska County.
Kalkaska. Yep. Been here for almost 30 years.
Wow. And now how did you meet your husband?
We roller skated.
Really? How fun.
After my mom died, that was my entertainment. I had 4 brothers and sisters, and I would work all week and get $20 for taking care of 2 kids, cleaning the house, and then I would take my brothers and sisters skating on Saturday night with my money. And that's how I met Larry.
Nice. And now what did you do? Were you when you first got married? What did he do? What did you do?
Larry was in the military.
Okay.
I was still in high school.
Okay.
We got married 3 days before I was 18 and went to Germany for a year with him.
Okay.
Came back, and then he got out of the military. He worked constructions. I was a home mom until my daughter was about 3.
Okay.
And then I went to work for a motorcycle shop selling parts.
Okay.
And from there, I went to automotive. And then I ended up buying the store up here. Had that for 10 years or 12 years.
Okay.
And now I'm retired.
Nice. How's retirement treating you?
Pardon me?
How is retirement treating you?
Well, I'm not really retired.
You stay very active.
I was going to say, you stay yard.
Yeah, you stay very, very active.
I was a secretary for the Eagles for 2 years. My term was up, so now I'm trying to enjoy a little bit more of life.
Absolutely.
Other than having parties.
Yes. Well, the parties are a necessity. Absolutely. So now, how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. And where are they? What do they do?
One is in Lansing. She is a lunch lady in school. She was a at-home mom until her kids got in high school. Now she's a lunch mom in the cafeteria. My other daughter's down by Ann Arbor, Pontiac area. I'm not quite sure what she does. She does a lot of different things. My son is a welder.
Okay.
And he lives up here.
And he stays busy. He's out.
Oh yeah, he's all over the state.
Now, what are things that make you happy?
Jeez, I'm not real sure.
Well, I mean, you like camaraderie. You like bringing people together.
Yes, I like to do that kind of thing. I like to, get things organized, plan things. I'm a planner.
Yes.
When it comes to like the Eagles, we always tried to do events.
Right.
So they kind of put Larry as an event organizing, which came back to me.
As it does. That is true. It always does. You think that, if your spouse, your significant other gets a task, you're like, oh yeah, they can handle it. No. Yeah. They say they'll do it and they'll be the face of it, but it's usually, it goes back to what I said with the judge in a previous episode. Behind every strong man, there's an even stronger woman. So, yeah, that's a big thing. But so you bring people together, you like to plan, you like to organize. What are some things that you've learned like through your life? Like your parents, where did your parents come from?
My parents both were from Flint. They married young. They had 6 children.
Okay.
She had 6 children before she was 25.
Oh, wow.
Lost 1. And then, of course, when she died when I was 15, she was only in her 30s.
Right.
And, but she was always active with us kids. My dad had broke his back in construction when I was like in 4th or 5th grade. So my mom had to go to work. And, then it kind of got to where he would work one shift, she would work another shift, so the kids would never be at home.
Right.
Very loving parents. My father was a handful, to say the least. And after my mom died,
How did she?
it fell on my shoulders. She died in a car crash going to work.
Really? So it was just an unexpected.
It was very unexpected. I turned 15 on the 8th of February. She died on the 12th of February.
Wow. Okay. So every time your birthday comes around, there's
Oh yeah, you always have that.
that reminder. Now, what type of relationship did you have with your mom before she passed? Because at
Great.
15, I mean,
It was great, but at 15, you really don't get to know your parents.
Right, but at 15, I mean, I think in my 20s, that's impressionable when you lose your parent, like in your early, late teens, early 20s, because that's such a forming part of your time.
Sure.
But you were the eldest.
I was the eldest.
So you became the
parent.
second mom, really, for your sibling.
I mean, I didn't do activities at school or anything like that because I had to go home and take care of kids.
Right.
And it was just part of what I was.
And then, but at 15 and then not even 3 years later, you're gone.
Yeah.
And how was the shock to the rest of your siblings at that point?
I think it was because my grandparents were real attached. My grandmother was more like a second mom to me.
Okay.
And she kind of guided the other 4.
Right.
Even though after I left, there was some issues with the kids getting in trouble and things like that.
Right.
I was the force, that
we would come back in and put them back straight and say, no, this is not how we're running to this.
But when I got married, I got pregnant my wedding night. I didn't know any better.
Goodness gracious. That's, funny side note, my dad, so we know each other because of my dad.
Yes.
And funny side note about my, one of his cousins, the one and only, or her very first time ever having sex, she got pregnant with twins. I mean, talk about never again. Could you imagine? That would be like no, that was wrong.
Yeah. Well, my grandmother just said the day I got married, just don't let him touch you. Well, what does that mean? I was pretty naive and pretty dumb.
Yeah.
And I found out 9 months later.
Yes, but they're still a blessing.
Oh yeah,
having the kids and there's grandkids there too.
Yes.
So how many?
I have 4 grandchildren.
Okay.
And 1 great grandchild.
Oh wow, goodness gracious! So the family is continuing to grow. That's a good thing. And now your husband Larry, is he retired as well?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, he actually retired before me.
Okay.
Because I still had the store.
Right.
So yeah, I mean we've gotten closer in the last 5 years. Probably in the 53 years that we've been married.
Right. Why do you say that?
Because we didn't really get to see each other a lot. When we were first married, he was working construction outside of the state. So he'd be gone a week or 2 weeks. And then I worked, and we always worked different shifts because of the children. And so we got married without really even knowing each other.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. Well, no, because I've always said that you don't really know somebody until you're living with them. Because then you get to see their quirks, their tendencies, the differences, and everything that comes along with it. But you're right. I mean, especially in then being in the military and then going to a foreign country, I could talk about culture shock for you, probably. What the? I mean, you're on base, but still, it's
it is a culture shock.
It's an experience, but a culture shock. But yeah, you're right, because a lot of the time you designate your time for the kids, work and kids. That's usually what takes over. So once the kids are grown and gone,
you tend to get to know each other better. And like I say, with our schedules and stuff, yeah, we were always in love and we always, liked each other. And I think that was the biggest thing.
A strong foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People think, being married 53 years is really something, but it's a work in progress all the time.
A lot of marriages, unfortunately, maybe 5 years at best,
And out of 32 kids that I graduated with, I'm the only one that's still married.
Wow.
So I think that's
That's
a bonus.
That's a huge bonus because no, I mean you don't want to say that you get a merit badge for being married over 50 years, but it shows that you still had things that you had to work through. You still had struggles. You still had times of transition. You still had a kid that may have, been not 100% follow the rules, or that you had to discipline, but you had to still have a united front in that disciplinary action.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that happened during that period. And then when now it's back to just the two of you, it's like you get to rediscover who you are
very true.
and who you are together.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would you say is the hardest part of your marriage in the 53 years?
When Larry was working out of town, and having, well, basically it was 2 kids when he was working out of town, not the third one. My last one was 9 years after the fact. But when he was out of town, I would still work, but when I got home, that hour between 6 and 8 was the time that was just the hardest.
Yeah.
You're not one to watch TV. It was always that time frame.
That lonely period.
Yeah.
Because the kids are off doing,
Then not only that, they were young and they were in bed by, 7, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then you're by yourself.
That dusk hour where it's like, okay, what do I do? Because you're not ready to go to bed yourself, but you kind of are just lonely.
Yeah.
And you're looking for your partner.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. Now, what would you say is some of the best, what are your best moments?
Larry and I got remarried at 25. We got remarried again at 50. Our 50th was a great one because, our 25th, I should say, all the kids were there.
Okay.
And it was a surprise to me that he wanted to do it.
Oh, nice.
I had no intentions. He did that. And then on our 50th, he said, we need to get remarried again. So we went to Mexico. Nice. I had 6 other people go with us.
Excellent.
Got remarried on the beach. I had my original wedding gown.
Oh,
I had to enlarge it a little bit, but I made it. I remade it, and we got married on the beach, and that was a highlight.
Yeah.
Very much of a highlight.
Oh, nice.
And we were going, well, I don't know if we'll still be alive for 75. And he goes, well, let's just do it again at 55.
Yes. You could do it 5-year increments. Why not?
So why not?
What's to stop you?
Yeah.
Now, right, and for visual purposes, just for the imagination of our viewing audience, and that just to imagine Larry, whenever I describe him, it, of course, is the iconic Jerry Garcia. I mean, that's what he looks like. So
Jerry Garcia. At one point, it was Bob Seger.
Yes.
Another time, now it's Santa.
Yeah, and now he's grown into these different stages. Big white beard, long white hair, but he is just such a gregarious person. And a joy to always be around. He's just, and both of you, but just, and so welcoming. I mean, that's a big.
He never used to be that way.
No,
he was always withdrawn. He didn't like to be around a lot of people that he didn't know.
Right.
But now he's more outgoing. The first time he played Santa at the club, I'm thinking, he ain't gonna like kids sitting on his lap. Yeah. Well, he loves it.
Well, yeah, but once it's funny, but when you put that costume on, you become somebody different. Yeah. So you can play and you can act out, and have fun with it.
And of course, after the first year, I had to be Mrs. Claus.
Of course. Yes.
So that's been a real blessing, in December. Because your kids are gone, we don't even put trees up anymore because we don't have people come at Christmas. So it's like, let's enjoy the other people's kids.
Yeah. So what are some other things that we don't know about Diane? What's some secrets? No, teasing. No, we are. I'm not going for those secrets. But what are some things? What are some insights that you have? Because so you worked in the automotive business. You sold it. You owned a store for 12 years. So you had a lot of characters that came in. And
I did there. And I don't miss the store, but I miss all the people that come into the store. And yes, when I owned the store, I went back and researched it. I was the temp owner. Okay. I was the longest owner.
Okay.
I had a few of the people, the original lady that had the store, she came in and seen me,
Oh, nice.
brought me pictures of the store from when they first,
Good.
opened. They used to get ice off the lake
Mm-hmm.
because they were the first ones to get
Yeah,
electricity.
yes. Yeah.
So I am a history buff when it comes to where I live.
Right.
The people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was one guy up here that wrote a book about this area.
Uh-huh.
I researched everything. I had maps out. I knew where they were going, what they were doing.
Yeah.
And this is back in, the early 1900s. So I'm curious about that kind
Of course.
which a lot of people don't know that about me.
Right. No, that's interesting because the history of this area, I mean, I was laughing myself because I was looking something up specifically, just to be a little bit more clear here, specifically about Kalkaska, and it brought something up about Ernest Hemingway, and how Kalkaska was founded in 1885, nearly burned down to the ground 3 times in the first 17 years. This was from an article from the Free Press that I was reading. And but then it was saying that one of his books, after he had spent some time fishing in the area, was based on one of the characters was based on this area. And so just to have that Hemingway connection, and then of course you go to Key West, and his house is there.
Yeah.
You like Key West.
Yeah.
So I know that we have a shared love of Key West. So that's
And my son and daughter-in-law is going this year.
nice. It's a beautiful
I
area.
think a lot of it is just because they've heard so many different stories from people. Because they went to New Orleans after mom and dad went. Now mom and dad went to Key West, so now they got to go check that out. They'll love it. She's all about chickens.
Yes.
So
All you see is, that's the funniest thing is when you get into the islands, we, unfortunately, there's roadkill, especially in the northern, we see what, porcupines, raccoons, opossums, deer,
bear.
unfortunately, occasionally a bear. In fact, there actually was a bear that walked through the yard here twice this year. And that's the first time I actually seen a bear outside of this cabin. And but of all of those various things, the roadkill here, when you get into the islands and down further, it's crabs and roosters. That's it.
Yeah.
It's or iguanas.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things. I went to Grand Cayman, and those were the 3 things. It was crabs, iguanas, and roosters.
Yep.
And that's all you saw. And it's just weird.
It is. And everybody talks about the leopards down there, and all that. You don't ever see those. Those are all nocturnal. You're not going to see them.
No.
And typically bear you don't see here.
No.
You're fortunate to me. Now we have eagles that nest right behind the house. So we see eagles all the time.
Right.
Especially in the spring when they come up the creek. And that's hard. I said creek this time instead of creek like I normally do.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Larry always says, what was that? But when the suckers run, we know because the eagles are coming down and getting the suckers.
Yeah.
So we can sit right on the porch and see, not far away, the full eagles. And then when you have people over and they'll see an eagle, oh, wow, And we say, we don't stop for eagles, we stop for rabbits because we don't have any rabbits.
Well, right, because predator births.
Right.
I mean, we have a bunny that hangs out here. He comes out, but he or she, I don't know. I've not gotten close enough to see. But every morning about 6:30 a.m., I have cameras and it picks up the wildlife. So we've seen all sorts.
We have no rabbits whatsoever.
Right. Well,
but we've also got fox and coyotes and all that kind of stuff.
And at one point, you did have a cougar, didn't you?
Yes. No, not a cougar. Bobcat. Bobcat's still there.
Oh, is it under the car?
Nope, the car's been moved, so he's moved.
Okay.
But we still see the footprints.
So he still hangs there.
We've still got it on camera.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, no, it's the fun things that you get to see. I mean, because you're on 40 acres?
We have 15 now. We originally had 60.
Okay, so
and had the house next door.
Okay.
And then when we chose to go to the UP, we were going to buy a bar, so we put everything up for sale.
Okay.
And then it fell through after we sold the one house.
Okay.
And our house was up for sale, and we had a buyer for it. And the last day, they lowballed us and the deal fell through in the UP.
Right.
So it was like, nope, house ain't for sale. We would have had a lot of money, but no place to live.
Right. Right. But no, but absolutely. But yeah,
That was one venture that I wish we could have done.
right.
It was a bar in Newberry. It had a rental house, had a gas station, a party store, an apartment attached. That I really, really wanted that.
Yes.
And every time I hear Toby Keith's song, I Love This Bar, it
Yeah.
would have been my theme song there.
Right.
In reality, it wasn't supposed to work.
Well, no, and that's what I was just about to say. Sometimes that's where the universe comes into play, and that's what we always talk about. You know, one of the things is sometimes things don't line up for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you weren't meant to be there.
Right.
There's a reason why you were only able to sell a couple of the things, and all the other pieces didn't fit.
Correct.
Because with synchronicities and everything that we do and what we talk about, there's no cause and effect. It just happens. So everything aligns perfectly. It's like, wow, I'm so lucky. Or, wow, today's my luckiest day ever, you know?
Well, and it's just like when my mom died. If my mom hadn't died, I probably would have never have met Larry.
Right.
You know, who's just say what would have happened in my life had not that.
Right. Because
even though that was a tragedy, it progressed me into being the person that I am now.
Right. And that's a big thing to know, because I know, thinking back from 71, going back to 15, I mean, how do you think that you comprehended or coped with the loss of your mom? Do you think you put it down because you felt you needed to be stronger for your siblings?
Most definitely. You know, you had to step up. And like I said, it had not been for my grandparents, especially my grandma, that helped me a lot. She taught me how to cook. You know, she did all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it was just something that I was meant to do, and I had to do it.
Right.
I mean, it was difficult, especially being a kid in school.
Yeah.
I remember right after my mom passed, I got on the bus, and a girl was complaining about her mother. And I lit right into her and said, you know, you're lucky you have one. So stop and think about that.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with that, because I've not lit into people, but in the back of my head, I'm like, be thankful that you have your parents.
Well, I'm a pretty vocal person.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I usually tell it like it is.
Yeah, and that's good.
And I would rather have somebody do that for me versus going behind the back.
Yeah.
You know, if I have an issue with you, I'll come to you personally.
Right.
And I usually won't do it in front of public. I will take you, just like I did with my kids.
Yes.
I'll take you off to the side and explain to you how I feel. You know, I lost a very close friend because I was one that said it like it was.
Yeah.
And we're now starting to get back a little better. But it was like, you hurt me.
Right. And we should be able to speak our truth and have grace when we do it, from the other person, to understand, because no matter how many times you say it, it's still how you feel, and that won't change. You know, I feel this because. And so if you can take the time to be able to say, I feel this because, with whomever you feel closest to, or you feel that it's okay to be that vulnerable with, then they should be able to accept that.
Yes.
And find that it would maybe tighten your friendship or any type of relationship that you.
It can go either way. You know, and I think a lot of it's the personality of the other person.
Right.
Like I say, somebody has a problem with me, just come up and say it. You know, I'll accept it. And if I don't accept it, I'll tell you why I don't accept that.
Right. And I think people get really defensive too. I don't know why. Because I think, I don't know. It's a hard one to explain.
Well, my grandmother was a force to be reckoned with. She was one of those people that said it like it was. And either you loved her or you didn't. But most people loved her.
Well, during that period of time, so let's think. Okay, so 15. So you were born in 54. So at 15, that was 69.
Yes.
Right? So You're 15 in 1969. So obviously you think of the world too. You've got Vietnam, you've got Woodstock, you've got Power Against the People, this and just everything. Just so many like
I was pretty isolated though.
at that point. One, you're in a rural area, somewhat rural in Midwest Michigan, or middle of the state, and I could see where that isolation would be. But even at 15, it's again just thinking of that time. I'm thinking about the automobiles, the lack that there's not cable. I mean, you have three channels on retail, a little bit of radio. I mean, you just think of how simple things were. No internet, nothing on the outside. And it's just like, how was life like that? How was it growing up in that time frame? And then being an adult as things changed, as cell phones came out or as
And see, I know where you're going with this because my grandfather was that way.
Yeah.
He showed us pictures,
Right.
about before the first car, his first horse. And now I can say that,
Yeah.
after all this time. Yeah, we didn't have cell phones.
No.
The first phone I ever had was a bag phone, and people nowadays don't even know what a bag phone is.
Right.
We were telling somebody the other day, and she goes, "Oh, you had to carry a bag around with a phone?" No. That's not quite how it was.
Well, it's just like in the 80s, the kids growing up in the late 70s and 80s, the party line, where you have a shared line for the kids. So,
I can't really reflect on it because I don't think about that. It just was part of life. We lived out on 5 acres. You played outside.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't watch television. Saturdays, we had wood floors. My mother would say, okay, you had to get on the floor and wax it with Johnson wax. And then you could watch American Bandstand at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
But if the chores weren't done, you didn't get to watch American Bandstand.
Right.
And Ed Sullivan on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
That was about as much television as we watched on the little green,
right,
screen. So I never really grew up with that TV.
Right.
Now I talk, to Larry, and he'll go, howdy doody and all this. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't got a clue. But we entertained ourselves. You played with other neighbor kids. We didn't have a lot of neighbor kids, and rode horses.
Right.
You'd sneak away in the morning and get on a horse and take off all day. Corn on the cob was a big deal when my mom was gone. We'd have corn eating contests.
Okay.
So it was like, who could eat the most corn?
Right.
Who could eat the most tacos? And I never had a taco until after my mom was gone. Never knew what a taco was.
Right.
Never had a pizza.
Yeah.
Never had an omelet until Larry and I was married, and he was a cook.
Right.
So I didn't know what an omelet was.
That's a blessing too. Is not only amongst everything else, he's an amazing cook.
Yes, he has a lot of practice.
Yes. So he definitely can feed a crowd.
Yes, he.
But no, but it's fun to think because I look at things and being just you were in the same age as my dad, mom as well. And, so when I was going through like all of his old pictures and things like that, it's like all these memories and connections that you kind of yearn for in days like today, where there is separation and people don't take the time to realize the human connection. And, back then you couldn't walk down a street without the neighbor.
Everybody.
Yeah. Hi, Diane.
Yeah.
Hi, Diane. How are you today?
Yeah.
How is your grandfather? How's your father? How's this? Everybody knew
And
everybody.
it was always grandmas or aunts, your neighbors.
Yes.
Everybody
knew everybody.
You never called her by her first name.
Correct. Or Mrs. This, or, correct. And so, but that web, that network of family and friends throughout those communities, we don't seem to have that as much anymore.
We have more of that now since Larry and I bought the store.
Mm-hmm.
When we owned that, we got to know the neighborhood.
Right.
Before, we're both working Traverse City. You get up, go to work. You don't even know the guy across the street.
Right.
So we call it the Blue Lake Hood.
Okay.
Everybody in this area we know.
Yes. And that's good. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot.
There's a lot more than you think there is.
Right.
A lot of people think, oh, you're living in the middle of nowhere. Well, you're really not.
No, I mean,
It
really.
might take you 20 minutes to get someplace.
Yes.
That's part of the reason why
You move up here.
yeah, that's thunder.
Yes. Yes. So, our listening audience, if you happen to hear thunder, we have a storm rolling through in northern Michigan. But hey, it's the middle of summer, and that's what we do. But you don't know that, right?
Yeah.
But
So the temp's not coming down today.
and more humidity, but that's what we do. But that's the beautiful parts of this, and if it picks it up, it does. So, but no. What else? So what else? What other like tidbits of information do you want people to know about you?
I'm strong-willed.
You just have to stand up for you
Yes.
and your family.
And he'll tell you right off the bat, yep, it's either Diane's way or the highway.
Yeah.
Not really, but...
But you know what? Like I said, though, you've got to be that way with people sometimes because you have to make sure I always call it being an advocate, and you have to advocate for yourself. And then most recently, I talk about spigots and things like that. So my spigots, I always talk about, turning them on, or shutting them off or turning them down, when it comes to people. And so that's, sometimes you need to do those things. And that's when you stand up and you be an advocate for yourself. And being strong-willed but it doesn't mean, it's your assertiveness, but people take it misguided and they'll call it something else that it's not.
Exactly.
And
I can tell you one incident when I first went to work for the motorcycle shop. Never been in retail, never had been around people, a lot. And Larry goes, you'll never make it. You'll never make it. You're too shy. You won't be able to do retail. Well, I worked there for 5 years. And I think part of that was the people that owned it kind of let me become me.
Right.
And then went into automotive and with managers and was very successful.
Right.
And then at one point, I was known as the Terminator because I went into stores that were losing money.
Yeah.
Carried a big stick, walked softly, as they say. And I would just fire. I had one store that I fired 13 people in one day. Wow. And there was me and one other person left to run the store.
Wow.
And then I got to be known for that. So anytime that there was a problem store, they would move me into that. And that's how I got up here. They moved me to Traverse City, but my son was 5th grade. And I said, I can't do it until he's out of school.
Right.
And then fortunately, Larry was doing jobs down in Mount Morris, and they wanted to move him up here to do Munson.
Right.
And so we both got jobs within a 2-week window.
Right.
But we were selling our house in Holly, living in Interlaken, trying to buy a house here. He was in the Arctic Circle. I sold the house in Holly, bought the house in Kalkaska.
Right.
And still, ran the store.
Right.
And then a year later, the company sold. And I was without a job.
Oh my gosh. So you move up here based on all of that.
Yeah. And a year later, it was gone.
And
it was October, and Kalkaska, CarQuest, they called me and they said, when you get ready to shut the store down, we got a job for you. Well, I was in my 50s. I'm thinking, I'm never going to get another job.
Right.
I'm too old.
Right.
Well, I had one waiting before I ever even closed. I was the last person out of the store because I had 17 years in with the company, 20 years and out. And there was a lot of us managers that had that happen too.
Right.
So I went to work there, and then I went to outdoor sales, and I skirted out once again because I'd never done anything like that. I had to have a counter between me. Very successful there. I became manager, or not, salesperson of the year. Was supposed to go to California, to a resort, and 9/11 hit. And we couldn't go.
Right.
So I opted at that time. They were building a new store up here, and they wanted me to become a manager. And I said, I don't want to go back to retail. Well, they kept talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
And I gave them a number that I figured they'd never be able to accept, and they came right back and said, okay. So I worked for them.
Okay.
And then just before I left there, I became manager of the year for all of Michigan.
Right.
Had to go to Florida, get all my awards and all that.
Right.
And then I quit there in September. And that was in March.
Yes.
I bought the store.
Well, see, but then that was on your terms.
Yes.
So you left there, you bought a store. So you were driving your car at that point. You know, you weren't dependent on anybody else.
DM comes in and wouldn't acknowledge my 2-week notice, and then the last day tries to tell me, oh, I need you until I be the manager on times. No.
Yeah.
Well, where are you going? It's none of your business.
Right.
I had bought the store. He didn't know that.
Right.
And it was another year before he ever found out that I actually purchased a store.
Right.
And they were doing no compete clause. I said I never signed anything, and I'm not going to work for somebody else.
Well, no, and what you were doing and what they were two opposites.
Correct.
I mean, you were a general store, they were an automotive store.
Right.
You know, so
not like I'm doing the same thing.
There's no competition there.
So yeah, that was quite the compliment, because when I first started in automotive, I was one of 13 managers. I was the only female.
Uh-huh.
Over the years, they started getting a few more females. And yeah, you work twice as hard to prove who you are and what you know. Mm-hmm. I never insulted a customer. If they wanted a man to wait on them, I'd introduce them to one of my employees, and then my employee would go, Diane, can you come over here and help me?
Right.
And that was the end of the conversation.
Exactly.
And then pretty soon you develop your own customers because of that.
Right.
But you never, ever, I mean, I heard human resources. They brought us all into a meeting one time and asked us, have you ever been called this or have you ever been called that? Yes. Well, have you taken offense to it? You just let it go.
Yeah.
You just
okay, let's touch on that for a second, because that's a really interesting topic to talk about, because letting things go, I think people are so much more sensitive in certain ways. I'm not saying I'm not getting a pass for anything that's like sexual harassment or bad behavior. I mean, there is definitely a line, but I think that there is an area that leads up to that line that there is a little bit of hypersensitivity.
And see, I didn't have to deal with that until later on.
Right.
When the harassment come into play and stuff.
And there are people that are going to be that way. And sometimes you just have to choose how you're going to react to them. Sometimes you just do businesses only. Just keep it at that. Don't respond. Don't react. Don't do anything. And then there's sometimes that you just want to reach across the counter and smack them, but you can't.
Like,
but then there's, then there's other times where you have to be terse right back and stand your ground to advocate for yourself, because now they've crossed a line and now you're not going to take that.
And as a manager in a field like that, you're not only dealing with customers, you're dealing with your employees.
Yes.
And I only had 2 females work for me in 40 years?
Right.
Well, it is. And I was chauvinistic about that. I didn't want women calling in. I didn't want them saying that my kid is sick, I can't come to work. I've got health issues.
So you even get a preconceived notion.
Right. And so I always hired men. And then just before I left the field, men in their 30s are calling in because their wives are sick. Mm-hmm. Their wife is sick. Why can't your wife take care of herself?
Yeah.
Or if they would get phone calls from the wives. Mm-hmm. And you're dealing with a customer, I'd go hang up the phone. It was like, no, this is my time.
Yeah.
You tell your wife to call when you're on break.
I worked in the corporate world in my early 20s, or most of my 20s, I should say. And I always say I peaked early, but I still have a corporate mentality from that being imprinted on me. Mm-hmm. So from the hours of 9 to 6, I very rarely take personal phone calls. Even though that I work for myself, I still don't take personal phone calls.
And I agree with that.
Is there an emergency? Why are you calling me? If not, I'll call you after 6.
And that was always, if Larry called me at work or my children called me at work, the first thing out of their mouth is, are you busy? Mm-hmm. And I would say, yes or no.
Right.
And if I said yes, they said, call me when you get a break.
Yep.
But that was always, it was the customer. The customer is paying my wages.
Yes.
And people don't understand that. Corporate people don't understand.
If people don't show up to buy the product,
right, you don't get paid.
No, there's no sales.
Then I had DMs and presidents of companies come in and want to take you back to kind of talk to you. And I go, I have customers.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to wait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people accepted that. Most didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to see you and do this and this. Well, the customer is paying all of our wages.
Mm-hmm.
And the last company I worked for was the best company I think I ever worked for, because they fired from top and not bottom. It came down to where you had to cut costs. They went to the top and not the employee that was making the money on the counter.
Right.
And I give a lot of credit for that.
I like that. That's actually any type of restructuring. I think that's a good idea, because if it is a heavier top, the person that's making the hourly wage is probably the one living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
They're not the ones with the big fat retirement accounts or
right.
So taking care of the people that make things move, that make the essential workers is, when we go back,
really
is.
Because if it wasn't for them, and if it weren't the people that are cleaning or picking up the trash or waiting on you at a counter, they can't make money.
Right.
They can't get a paycheck on the top.
Exactly. No, those are good points to always remember. So now what so every 5 years, so going back to just the renewal of the vows, so we did at 50, so you've been married now for 53 years, so 2 years from now we're going to have another renewal.
See?
Perhaps. Maybe if we wait, maybe 5 years after that too. So now we have going, at least for 60, but there's always the potential for 75 years.
There's always
an amazing thing. Could you imagine the party that you would have for that?
Well, I think I'm going to have a big party in 2 years.
Yes.
Because we said 20 and done with the tiki party.
Oh, did you? Is that, so
this was 18 years.
Okay. So in 2 years,
we're going to be done. Somebody else can take it all.
Okay. So 28. And I was reminiscing, it was funny because I probably didn't go to the first two, but I think I've been to every single one thereafter. So it's something that I made sure to be here for.
You did.
And it's always an enjoyable experience. When
we started out with just no tent, no nothing,
Great food. And this year we toasted both my dad, other friends, Buck, and just so many other people that had been lost in the area. But I took a shot. I'm going to tell everyone I took a shot of tequila for my dad, and no chaser, no salt, no lime, no nothing.
But it was good tequila.
And it was, I felt like I was breathing fire. Somebody should have had a picture of my face. I'm sorry.
Well, at least it wasn't Toro or anything.
No. At least it was pretty.
It was a good quality.
It was a good quality. Most definitely good quality. I got to say that is.
I will say that is one time that people that normally don't drink tequila will have.
Right. Because
we try to just do a little half shot. Just for the.
Anything more than that, I think I would have choked.
And Larry just started doing the tequila song the last 2 years. He never did that before.
No, of course, that's his infamous song now, his 3 words. That's all he does karaoke too. So that's always a brilliant, fun time. But, we've got those plans. So we've got 2 more years left of the tiki party. We're going to have a big bash at the end. Renewal of the vows. I think that would be a blast. And we had to do a big thing for that. And then just moving forward for you so closing down the, stopping those things, what else do you want to achieve? You've done a lot.
I know
you've marked a lot.
I have done a lot, but you don't stop to think about all the things that you've done.
Right.
And growing into it. I can't say that I really want to continue to be anybody that wants to go to work.
Right.
For an instance, my hearing aids, when they quit, I went to the doctors and I said, well, what's it going to cost? And he goes, well, it's going to be $1,200. And I'm going, well, I paid $16. Now I'm on fixed income. I can't keep doing this every 2 years. And he goes, well, why don't you get a job? I won't go back to that doctor.
Yeah.
At 71, I've done my time.
Yes.
And then some.
And you have plans. You have planned for your retirement, so it's not like you're a pauper or anything. But still, it's there. There's a lot of expense.
There's still a lot of things that I would like to see. first of all, I'd love to see DC.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go because of the crime and all the crap that's going on now. I have a sister that lives in New York that I've only visited once when my son was 2 and he'll be 40. I'd love to go back there to see her, but I don't want to go because of the crime.
Right.
I've seen a lot of things, been a lot of places, but there's still a lot of stuff in the United States that I haven't seen.
Right.
That I would like to see. I've not seen the Grand Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that I'd like to see. That's the kind of thing I think I would want to do now. I would love to go in a vehicle, but Larry's not going to drive. So now it's called plane rides. And it's less stressful.
But you could fly into other areas, so for in the Grand Canyon, right, in the Grand Canyon and stuff, flying into Flagstaff would you get you there within an hour?
We have been to Flagstaff.
You can fly to Phoenix and then do some greater area things, because that's the fun thing. The last time I was at the Grand Canyon was actually my 40th birthday. I stayed in Sedona, but we did stay in Williams a couple nights. I took my nester's daughter. And it was quite fun. But one of the things that when we were in Williams, we were chatting with some of the people and ended up saying, we were going to go to this park, which was just one of the parks off the back rail between Sedona and going back into Williams, which is the switchbacks and things, so you're driving down the mountainsides and I got really good at doing all of that, surprisingly, but it was a lot of fun. But at any rate, I think the park that we were going to stop at was called Slide Park. And the woman local said, "Why would you stop there and swim in everybody's pee?" That was her. It's like, well, that's the only place I know to stop. And so she said, 3 bends before you get there, there's a little pull-off, there's parking, but you have to walk down. When you walk down, you'll be amazed. And there was a swimming hole, and it was ice-cold mountain snow water, but it was secluded, and you parked and you walked down, and it was there was no, access you had to climb down, but you did, and there's this opening and rocks and this creek and this big swimming hole. And it was just the most amazing thing. And of course, Slide Rock was south of us, downstream from us. So we're not in their pee, they're in ours. Not that we peed in the water, but I'm just saying. But it was just absolutely beautiful because it was serene. And there was only 3 or 4 other people there. So now you have this private experience.
Right.
In the middle
of you'll never live through again.
So you had this opportunity to experience, and that's the moment of being present. And that's taking the time to enjoy where you're at and seeing the things around you. And just talking to people.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I always love going to Canada to go fishing, because we were secluded.
Right.
It was a drive-in camp, but you portaged. I don't swim.
Right.
So I'm terrified of canoes.
Okay.
Terrified. But I bit the bullet and did it.
Yeah.
And they have one place up there that's called Divorce Alley. And it's a little creek.
Uh-huh.
Trying to remember to say that. That you have to go upstream. There's 70 some turns to get back to the lake where you want to fish. And they call it Divorce Alley because they always put the woman in the front and the man in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the man needs to be in the front to steer the boat.
Right.
And then when you get all done, you would tear the beaver dam down and ride the way back.
Ah.
And we had friends that went with us, and there's one spot where you have to portage, and if you don't stay in the water, the current, there's leeches that are like this.
Oh my gosh.
Now she gets all panicky, and she's got white shorts, white shirts, white tennis shoes, and she fell into the muck. And I tell you what, the rest of us laughed so hard. She found no humor in it.
No percent.
Even though her husband was laughing, and we all kind of was chuckling, but then she had to fish like that for the whole day before we came back. And we kept telling everybody, just wait till we tear the beaver dam down and you could ride the way back.
Yes.
But we could hear them even when we were tearing the dam down at the other end, still.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yes.
Those are memories that you'll never.
Those are those adventures. Those are the things that, unless you were there, we would believe it.
And it's like the first fish I caught. We went north. I caught a massive walleye.
Mm-hmm.
We had our girls with us and their grandparents with us, and we took one trip, and I caught a walleye. Well, I brought it back, got it stuffed. It's on the wall. And then Larry went back the next year and said, if I don't catch a fish with the guys, I won't. No, I told him, I said, if you don't catch a fish, a mountable fish, you can't go back to Canada without me. Well, then after that, it was always just the two of us for a week.
Right.
And Grandma watched the kids.
Right.
And then my son got to be 6th, 7th grade. He wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So much for our week.
Yes.
But we've caught numerous fish. In fact, the one time I caught my pike, another mountable fish.
Mm-hmm.
The guide's going, oh, Larry's going to be so upset. You know, you caught the fish and da, 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 da. And I'm going, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
2 days later, he caught 2
Good.
record fish.
Good.
And put one back. And we thought we had the beaver on the lines.
Oh, okay.
It was pulling the boat with 3 of us in it.
Wow.
That's how big this fish was. And they were just shocked that he would put that one back.
Yeah.
And he goes, I can only afford to have one mounted.
Yes. Well, yeah, right. Why, let them grow more, because those are the historic fish. That's what's in this.
Those are
like
years and years old.
Of course. So, well, as we close out, we appreciate you so much joining us today, Dianna. It's been such a pleasure. But as we close out, one of the things that we always tag people with is their personal anthem. So we discussed this briefly, and you had made mention that as I had approached this question with you before we started, I said, just make sure you have your song in mind. And you said it played on the radio on my
right here.
So the universe wanted to make sure it was fresh in your mind. And James Brown.
I feel good.
Yes. And I as soon as that, you say that, I have that music in my brain.
You do.
And it's just like, you want to, like, yes, I got that. So that's brilliant. So, goodness gracious. But this has been a lot of fun. A little bit of a summer storm passed through, so hopefully you didn't hear that. But thank you again for joining us on this week's episode of Life Between Coasts. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to grow our listening audience. We again would like to thank Dianna for joining us, and we hope you have a great week. And until then, bye-bye.